Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy K. Excuse me for a second. Hello? Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Castaway, how are you? Yes, of course I do. Thank you so much. Bye. Sorry to make you wait, it was just the neighbors. They keep bringing me these delicious smoothies each day. What the... That's strange. Let's get started.
This is no dream, this is really happening!
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage. Welcome back to this year's Halloween horror Mayhem. Time to talk about one of my all-time favorite horror movies, Roman Polanski's 1968 Rosemary's Baby. It's a psychological horror drama based on a novel of the same name by Ira Levin, who has said that the film might be the single most faithful adaptation of a novel ever to come out of Hollywood. Faithful to such a degree, not only taking huge portions of dialogue without any changes, but also incorporating many details like newspaper covers or certain color descriptions, that Levin was wondering if Polanski knew that he was allowed to make changes. Rosemary's Baby marks Roman Polanski's first American film, and it's the second part in his loose thematic trilogy about the horror of living in an apartment in the city, the two other being 1965's Repulsion and 1976's Le Locataire, The Tenant. And indeed, the urban setting was, or still is, very special. The film begins with aerial shots of Manhattan, accompanied by the film's theme song, a demented lullaby that sets the stage for its story, about pregnancy and awaiting childbirth. Rosemary's Baby is an urban horror movie, and it's very rare that horror takes place in big crowded places like New York City. More often we are in remote locations, old castles filled with cobwebs and shadows, little villages with few residents, dangerous jungles with mysterious foreign creatures. But to use a crowded city and a modern apartment as your stage for some truly dark and evil horror is still the exception. The story revolves around a young couple, Rosemary and Guy Woodhouse, played by Mia Farrow and John Cassavetes. They just moved into an apartment only to be surrounded by peculiar neighbors and occurrences. Once Rosemary becomes pregnant, paranoia over the safety of her unborn child begins to control her life. Now, it's very hard for me to imagine anyone in 2019 not knowing about the film's famous and damn impressive ending, or what the truth about Rosemary's Baby turns out to be. The film was released 51 years ago, and it's so ingrained in pop culture. It has been a long time since I saw it for the first time, but I'm pretty sure I knew about the ending before as well, and it's a film that's so great that it will work nevertheless. But if you belong to the few people out there who have no clue about the film, I urge you to just watch the movie and then come back for the review. For those who haven't seen the film but do know the twist, you can stay. As always, I won't spoil any major details. Alright. Rosemary's Baby deals with the possibility that something might be horrible wrong with Rosemary's unborn child. As the movie continues and her suspicions or paranoia grow stronger, she comes to the conclusion that her neighbors aren't just your typical eccentric but good-hearted old people, but very likely part of a cult of devil worshippers who are preparing Rosemary for the birth of the son of Satan himself. It's this juxtaposition that's so great. The modern setting at the time of the release, today's New York City, with ordinary, rational people, and yet the threat of these possible demonic forces that take over Rosemary's life. It's the side-by-side of our normal world and the dark and the occult. Rosemary's Baby predates The Exorcist by 5 and The Omen by 6 years. It was a groundbreaking new take on horror and a pioneering entry in the line of iconic movies that deal with the horrors and anxieties of pregnancy, other famous examples being Alien or The Fly. It directly tackles women's fears about rape and unwanted pregnancy and a month-long time of anticipation and fear. Is everything okay with the child? Am I doing what's best for the unborn? Who should I listen to? Whose advices should I follow? Rosemary's Baby is a film about the loss of control, about a woman who becomes more and more controlled by the people around her. Every step, every decision is determined by someone else. Even the person closest to her, her husband Guy, can't be trusted any longer. Guy's an actor, and it's Rosemary who seems to become his most important audience. Everyone around her seems to act. But is it just a paranoia, or is she really in danger? From today's perspective, it's hard to imagine the first option, because we already know about Rosemary's Baby. But like I said, that doesn't take away from the impeccable filmmaking. It's absolutely sublime. From the incredible performances, to the camera work, the set design, the use of colors, the haunting music, to the editing. And I specifically looked up the names of the editors for this review, because Sam Osteen and Bob Wyman did such an amazing work here. This is a film that's 51 years old, with 137 minutes. It's quite long for a horror movie, and it also consists of many scenes that are shot in one continuous unbroken take or with just minimal cuts. So it is rather slow moving, but almost every cut is done so perfectly that the cuts themselves became apparent to me. Normally that's a sign of bad editing. Normally you only really recognize cuts if a film doesn't flow as smoothly as it should. But here they are done so sharp that I kept thinking, what a great cut throughout the entire film. Rosemary's Baby is able to create such a dense and alluring atmosphere. This is a horror film, but you shouldn't expect that many shocking moments. It's a film of impeccable style, and yet it's quite understated. Again, it's that juxtaposition of this seemingly normal world with the crass nature of its final revelations. And upon revisiting it for this review, I couldn't believe just how entertaining it is. I honestly can't say that I was really that frightened or scared by any of it, as I was absolutely joyful about the craftsmanship in general, and also the dark, sinister yet extremely charismatic and odd moments with the neighbors. Mia Farrow is fantastic as a woman who's losing control and who's desperately trying to get hold of the situation. It's her life, it's her body. Yet she's completely losing her self-determination, and Farrow is magnetic. But the ones who completely steal this show are the old neighbors, Minnie and Roman Castevet, played by Ruth Gordon and Sidney Blackmer. Especially Ruth Gordon, who did win the Oscar as Best Actress in a Supporting Role for her portrayal, is outstanding. She has this thick New York accent, and the way she talks, her facial expressions and her mannerisms, her behavior towards Rosemary, it's just a great show, and I couldn't help but laugh out loud several times. But not to the detriment of the movie. Instead, it was one of those I can't believe how awesome this is laughs. And again, for a third time, it's the juxtaposition of this eccentric, odd old woman and the devilish revelations about these people that's so great. And Polanski's direction is so on point, and if you pay attention, you will recognize a lot of nuances and small hints that all play into the story of Rosemary getting manipulated by a cult of devil worshippers. If you have never seen Rosemary's Baby, make yourself at home and go check it out. So in German I'd say, Rosemary's Baby ist einer der schönsten, atmosphärischsten und bestgespielten Horrorfilme aller Zeiten. Heil Satan! Ich mach nur Spaß. Oder nicht? I give Rosemary's Baby 9 out of 10. It's more like 8.7, but I don't do that.
Suggested for mature audiences.
Alright, that's it like always. Comment below, let me know what you think about Rosemary's Baby. And also let me know what is your favorite horror movie that has something to do with the devil. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd simply at TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.